Digging of leach pit and lowering rings. In the previous session, we learned to plaster the foundation. In this session, we will learn to dig the leach pit and lower rings. The leach pit holds solid fecal material, allowing wastewater to percolate into the ground and prevents mud from breaking loose and falling into the pit. At the end of this session, you will be able to mark and measure area for digging the leach pit, dig the leach pit, and lower rings in the leach pit. As per our plan, we will dig the leach pit at a distance of 120 centimeters from the basement. The pitch will have a depth of 120 centimeters and a diameter of 120 centimeters. We will lower 4 rings after digging the pit. Each of the rings will have a height of 30 centimeters and a radius of 60 centimeters. We require at least 15 centimeters of the pit to be above the ground level. Hence, we will dig the pit to a depth of 130 centimeters, considering placement of a lid of 7 centimeters, application of 5 centimeters, plain cement concrete at the bottom, and placing cover blocks or stones between the rings of approximately 4 centimeters each. Before we go into the procedure, first let's take a look at the tools and materials. The tools are pickaxe, shovel, measuring tape, chalk powder, crowbar, ladder, rammer. The materials are cement rings, rope, cement mortar in the ratio of 1:4, cover blocks, plain cement concrete or PCC in the ratio of 1:4:8, concrete bricks, thread. We will now see the steps involved in digging the leach pit. We will first measure and mark the area for digging the leach pit. Tie a thread to a brick and hold it such that it is parallel to the basement on both sides of the basement. Mark the line on the ground using chalk powder. Repeat the same step on the other side of the basement. Now we get 2 parallel lines starting from the basement. Measure and mark 180 centimeters on the parallel lines. Connect both the endpoints. This length should be 140 centimeters. Take the midpoint of this line at 70 centimeters. Insert a stake at this point. We will now draw the border for excavation. Considering the radius of the ring as 60 centimeters, with its thickness as 5 centimeters and an additional allowance of 20 centimeters for digging, the total radius of the circle will come to 85 centimeters. Tie a thread from the stake and measure 85 centimeters and draw a circle. Put chalk powder over the marked area. This gives us the area for excavation for the leach pit. We will now start digging the pit. As you dig, remove the mud and pile it near the pit. At intervals, check the depth of the pit. Keep digging and clearing till you have reached a depth of 130 centimeters. Roughly level the ground. We have now finished digging the pit. We now proceed to mark the center of the pit. With the help of a measuring tape, measure a distance of 170 centimeters across the pit. Mark the midpoint of this distance at 85 centimeters. This midpoint will give us the center of the pit. Next, we will mark the diameter of the pit for applying PCC. Insert the stake at the center of the pit. Measure 65 centimeters on the thread and draw a circle. This circle gives the external diameter of the rings. Put chalk powder along the circle. We need to apply PCC inside this diameter. We will now apply PCC on the marked area. Insert stakes at 4 points outside the circle. Measure and mark 30 centimeters on one stake. Using water level, mark on the other stakes. Now, measure and mark 25 centimeters from the 30 centimeter mark on all the stakes. We now have the 5 centimeter height to fill the PCC. Now pour some water outside the circle. Put PCC along the stakes up to the 5 centimeter mark. Lay PCC along the marked circle, maintaining a height of 5 centimeters. Use a rammer to level the PCC and smoothen the surface. We now proceed to lower rings in the pit. Roll the first ring and place the ring on 3 bricks. Caution! Special care should be taken so that the ring doesn't fall on the legs. Take 3 ropes and tie them on the ends of the ring. Slide an iron rod sideways into the pit. Caution! The ring should be dropped slowly, otherwise it might break. Slide the ring over the iron rod slowly and place it on the PCC. Adjust the position of the ring. Now, remove the ropes. Check the level of the ring by placing the spirit level on the straight edge. If the level is not proper, add cement mortar under the ring to adjust the level. Repeat the level check in the other direction as shown. Fill the gaps between the ring and the ground with cement mortar using a trowel. After inserting the second ring, place 4 cover blocks between the 2 rings by lifting the ring slightly using the rope. Now, remove the ropes. Fill the space between the rings and the pit with mud as shown. Repeat the process for the other rings. While placing the last ring, ensure that at least 10 centimeters of the ring remains on top of the ground. Fill mud tightly in the gaps. You have now completed digging the pit and lowering rings in the pit. With that, we have come to the end of this session. In this session, we have learned to measure and mark area for digging the leach pit, dig the leach pit, and lower rings in the pit. In the next session, we will learn to position the toilet pan.